10 Most Haunted Places in California. 1. Amargosa Opera House and Hotel. If you wish to visit the haunted opera house, you should be aware that it is apparently only open for very brief periods of time and there are no operating tours. Apparently it is rarely open except during performances done by the 70-plus-year-old ballet dancer who owns the hotel. Reports of what exactly haunts the hotel are vague and not well defined. It is merely rumored to be haunted. 2. Hotel Lane Rose. This 1907 historic hotel was formerly sleeping quarters for railroad passengers staying the night in town, and is supposed to have a few ghost stories associated with its colorful past. The building is allegedly haunted by a pair of ghostly children looking for their parents, as well as a lady in a nightgown who has been seen drifting through closed doors. 3. 452 AMDS Building 2300. On several occasions I have personally experienced paranormal activity in our building. It used to be a tuberculosis ward for children. I am usually the last one to leave the building for the day and must ensure all the clinic doors are locked. One night I was locking up and had gone into the restroom before leaving. Just as I was walking through the door, I hear a small, female voice about 2 feet behind me and about chest level saying my first name. Michelle. This is particularly odd because I am military and we don't address each other by first names. Needless to say, there wasn't anyone there. Other times I have heard children giggling or adults murmuring. 2 of my coworkers midday witnessed a glass door open 90 degrees, pause that way for 2-3 seconds and then close again. Finally, another coworker likes to investigate paranormal events and he has pictures of orbs and ifs of the children, talking, singing and responding to direct questions such as "What is your name?" Response, "Yes." "Then do you miss your family?" Response, "Every day." These spirits are not malevolent, but sometimes mischievous. Things get moved that no one has been around, behind locked doors. The base and my building are definitely haunted. 4. Queen Mary Hotel, Long Beach. The Queen Mary Hotel is recognized as not only one of the most haunted places in California, but also as one of the most haunted hotels in the entire world. The former ocean liner is now permanently docked at Long Beach, where it serves as a hotel that is very popular with paranormal researchers and others interested in the paranormal. The ship is incredibly haunted and we could not even begin to document all of the strange events that have occurred there in this one brief summary. However, we can touch on some of the most common hauntings. The first-class swimming pool is said to be haunted by 2 female spirits who are said to have drowned there in the 1930s and 1960s respectively. They have both been seen as apparitions, and visiting psychics have said that they feel a negative presence coming from the changing rooms. There are also reports of a lady in white in the Queen's Salon, a male in 1930s attired in the first-class suites, and the sounds of children playing near the storage room. These are only a handful of the reports of paranormal disturbances on board. One possible explanation for the high levels of paranormal activity dates back to World War II. The Queen Mary actually ended up slicing through her escort ship, but was under strict orders not to stop and look for survivors. It is believed that as many as 300 men drowned in the accident and their souls can still be heard pounding on the hull begging for assistance. 5. The Glen Tavern Inn, Santa Paula, book now. The Glen Tavern Inn in Santa Paula was built in 1911 in the Old English Tudor style. It is a beautiful building, but it could be described as having a somewhat ugly past. The history of the Glen Tavern Inn is rich and colorful, with a large dose of dark and seedy moments. It is a fascinating building once frequented by the stars, which fell on hard times after Prohibition was introduced and the 3rd floor became a speakeasy, brothel and gambling den. It is this that is likely to have triggered the majority of the paranormal activity reported here. The Glen Tavern Inn is one of the most haunted places in California and it is home to a number of different ghosts. One of the most well-known hotspots is room 307, which is said to be haunted by 2 ghosts, a cowboy known as Calvin and a prostitute. Calvin is described as being tall and thin, wearing a white short and sporting long hair and a goatee beard. He has been seen walking through walls and is often captured in photographs taken by guests. Calvin is believed to have been a man who was shot and killed during a card game back in the days when the third floor of the Glen Tavern Inn was a gambling den. This tale is backed up by the discovery of a Western-style hat behind one of the walls during renovation. The hat featured 2 bullet holes and some blood stains. The other spirit in the room is an unknown female who is believed to be a prostitute who was beheaded in the room. Her body was dumped in the closet and discovered by a maid. Her mist-like form has been seen and people report sudden cold spots, knocks and disembodied voices. There have also been sightings of a child running through the corridors and the sound of children laughing. 6 East 8 Mile Road, Stockton. One of the most haunted places in California is not a building, but a stretch of road, 8 Mile Road to be exact. It is said that there is the spirit of a witch who appears on the road. Many a heavy goods vehicle driver has reported a scary woman in a tattered white dress standing in the middle of the carriageway. Legend states that if you turn back to take a second look at the phantom, then you will see the spirit sitting in your back seat. There are also reports of a Native American girl wandering the road on the night of the full moon, and locals say she can be heard screaming in the night. It's no wonder paranormal fans love the idea of a haunted road trip along East 8 Mile Road. 7 Adlata Cemetery. At Adlata Cemetery, locals say its ghostly inhabitants may swipe your car keys. It is said to be haunted by Charlotte Siddon, a minister's wife who committed suicide at age 19 in December 1890. She visits late Friday nights in a white nightgown to lay flowers on the grave of her child, who died of diphtheria. In some versions of the story, Charlotte wears a pink dress and is called the Pink Lady. The cemetery also is said to have a tree that bleeds. Adlata Cemetery is closed at dusk, and trespassing after dark is not allowed. 8 Winchester Mystery House, San Jose. The Winchester Mystery House is one property that certainly lives up to its name. Construction began in 1884 and it never really stopped until the owner, Sarah Winchester, passed away on September 5, 1922. It is believed that she spent around $5 million on construction. Why? Well, because Sarah was convinced that her home was haunted by all of the victims killed by a Winchester rifle and that the only way to quiet the spirits was to keep on building. Sarah may well have been correct, because since the mansion was opened up to the public in 1923, staff and visitors alike have reported several mischievous spirits in the building. One particular story that stands out is a photograph taken inside the house of a ghostly male in a workman's overall. It has been suggested that he could be one of Sarah Winchester's carpenters still working on the continuous construction even after his death. 9 Pleasanton Hotel. This former hotel is now a restaurant with tenants living on top. It is not a functioning hotel. Reportedly haunted by a prostitute who was murdered there in the late 1800s. 10 Las Cajas Adobe, Soledad. Las Cajas Adobe might just be one of the most terrifying places in California. In the early days, Las Cajas Adobe was the site of a mine. However, one day a horrific accident caused over 30 mine workers to be trapped in a collapse. All of them lost their lives. Tragedy like that has to leave a stain on the very land, so it is really no wonder this place is haunted. Locals and visitors alike have heard the screams of trapped miners emanating from an old well on the property, and there are also numerous reports of a lady in black and a male phantom walking around the grounds. Some even claim to have seen the ghost of a man hanging from a tree just on the boundary of the property. All of this is before we even get into what is lurking inside the buildings themselves. The buildings are said to be so terrifying that local gangs apparently use them as an initiation ritual, locking potential members in the building overnight. If they last the night, then they are in. There is said to be demonic activity within, and apparently several visitors have been possessed. It is also claimed that anyone who goes to sleep inside will wake up outside with no memory of how they got there.